All right, a new video. Several of you have commented, a bunch of you have commented, and I've had a few messages even of folks saying, Brad, you mentioned in one of your last videos that you didn't think the 0% financing offer that dealers and manufacturers are offering, like Ford's offering the zero down, zero interest, zero payments for 90 days, and why I commented that I wouldn't probably do that deal. It's probably not a good deal. And once you dig into these things, you realize they're really not good deals. But they're banking on you and I not doing the math and not knowing what we're doing and not being able to catch them in sticking us in a situation that frankly seems like a good deal. And frankly, people brag constantly, I got this car. I got it for zero down. Did you know about any of the other incentives that were being offered? No way, because 0% interest is better, because interest is bad. Interest is bad. Well, here's what's really bad is when you overlook a significant available consumer cash rebate or discount that would have been much more money than that 0% is going to save you. Well, you should have got the calculator out and do the math, which we're going to do right now. But I want to make a couple points here about the 0%. The 0%, almost every single circumstance is they don't combine with other offers. And that's a problem. So you need to find out what other offers are out there, other rebates. And you've got to do the research online because the dealerships in some cases may not tell you. The other issue is when you call them on the phone, I've had people comment and say, Brad, I call all the dealerships and I make my deal before I go there. They'll tell you anything on the phone because they don't believe you're ever going to show up. They don't even take you seriously or for real until your butt's sitting in there and you are showing them, I'm ready, willing, and able to do a deal today. Are you? And that gets them motivated. But if you call them and ask them, which I did, I literally called and I said, can I combine your $3,500 rebate offer on your website with your 000 program? He said, yes, of course. And then I said, are you sure? And then he said, actually, I misspoke because no, you can't. And it's wild because had I just been, okay, thanks, I would have went in there and found out the hard way.
2 seconds earlier.
The 0%, 90 days, zero deal you've got going on.
Yeah.
Does that qualify with other rebates?
It does.
So you can get the rebates and the zero down.
So usually, it's sorry, I misspoke. So when it comes to the rebates, it's either or.
And they would have done a bunch of, oh, I'm sorry, he didn't know, he's just the salesman. Manager would have said, we apologize for that, but we will honor the 0%. They'll say something stupid. Either way, you're getting screwed because when you call them, you're just getting somebody on the phone that's their job generally is to get you into the dealership. But just know, you got to go there to really fight this. You got to do your research before you go there. But what about the 90 days, no payments? Why is that bad? I mean, Brad, I'm sure you're going to show me why the 0% isn't that great. But why? What about the 90 days, no payments? I like the idea of having no payments. Well, let's say your payment's $500 and it's going to be $1,500 of money you're going to save. Somebody's making those payments or they're extending your loan out by 3 months. You got to ask them, how are you doing this? Are you amortizing this loan over 48 months and I'm only going to make 45 payments? Or are you amortizing it over 48 months and starting the loan in 90 days? So it's really 51 months. How does that work? I want to know how you're doing it. But no matter how they're doing it, there's no payments getting made for the first 3 months, meaning there is zero principal getting paid. And when it's 0% interest, that means that's $1,500 in solid principal that you should have been paying. And that means you got to know where the hell is this coming from. They're just kicking the loan down the road. So you're really into that car for 51 months, most likely. And because they're not discounting the loan by $1,500, they're probably actually raising the price that you could otherwise get by $1,500. So you're leaving yourself in a situation where you're 3 months behind in negative equity that you wouldn't otherwise be in. The sooner you put money down and start paying that loan down, the better position you're going to be down the road when and if you need to exit that car. And if you kick the can down the road, you're simply burying yourself deeper in what is commonly known as the worst depreciating asset you can buy. So taking the 90 days, no payments feels good up front, but it's going to hurt you later. So no matter, you don't get a free lunch in this world. But I want to show you how the math works here. So let me jump to this other screen and just show you all. So here's the deal with 0% interest. One, their offer is a 48-month offer. So let's just acknowledge that's the case. Here's the ads, 0% interest for 48 months, 0 down payment, 0 payments for 90 days, plus complimentary maintenance plan for 24 months. Well, Brad, that could be a big deal. Probably isn't that big of a deal on a new car. So let's be real. A few $100s in oil changes or something. Let's be real. How hard do you drive that car? They're not doing this deal because they're trying to do you a favor. You don't need a whole bunch of maintenance on that car. But the first service, they're going to put a new air cabin filter. No, please don't worry about losing that by getting a different offer. So let's go ahead and look at an example here. And here's an example of a car for sale on a Ford website. So I just picked a Ford Escape. I literally picked the first thing that came up. So a Ford Escape Active. The MSRP is $31,485. Remember that number. Bonus customer cash $3,500 that I was told by the gentleman. You cannot take that if you do the 0% interest. So if you do the 000, you don't get the $3,500. Keep that in mind, okay, folks? Then you've got a villa price, the ultimate price, the final price, $27,985. If you take that, if not, that's the price. You've got to negotiate from there. Can you? Yes. How much? Who knows? So we're going to go with just baseline numbers. And of course, everything adjusts equally, whether you took the 0% or not. It's just, I believe you're going to pay more for the car. Actually, you are going to pay more for the car, in my experience. So here is the example of the car, $31,485, 48 months, 0% interest, tax license, and I just threw the 1,000 there. I don't know where you live. So $727.61 would be the payment for that 48 months. To me, that is an enormous payment for a Ford Escape. I would rather be driven over by a Ford Escape than be caught dead paying $727 on a Ford Escape. But I digress. So here's the ultimate price. $34,925 will be the total cost that you're going to be into that thing for. Okay. Now let's go same exact numbers, but we take the rebate instead of the 0% financing. $31,485, same 48 months. I did 4.5% interest, which is what you can get at the credit union. Let's say my Navy Federal Credit Union, talk to your credit union, but you can get 4.49% for 37 to 60 months. So let's say we just go with the same 48 months. So 4.5%, $3,500 cash incentive, like they're offering on that car right there. And same tax license, everything else, that's $716.60. So $727 at 0%, $716. That's just right. If you walk in there and just lay down and take one or the other, I'll take the 0%, or you take the $3,500, and you don't negotiate anything after that. You just roll over, want a quick, easy deal. You're better off paying 4.5% interest and taking the rebates, the cash incentives, than taking the 0%. Right off the bat, done. You're there. But Brad, I'm going to pay interest. You're going to pay $2,971.79 in interest in exchange for $3,500. I will make a deal with anyone out there that I will literally give you $2,971 if you will give me back $3,500. I will trade you that. That's just simple math here. You're going to walk out of there with, let's just call this $3,000, $500 ahead. $34,396 will be the final amount that you pay versus $34,925. So you will still be better off by that $500, and you will have a lower payment. But Brad, I want to negotiate that price down. Cool. Whether you take the rebates or incentives of $3,500 or you take the 0% financing, you still can negotiate the price on both those and get a lower price. You just have to negotiate. And that means you've got to do your research, do your visits, maybe visit 3 or 4 dealers, get them fighting with each other. I went ahead and did a breakdown of if you just took the rebates and negotiate them down, $1,485. Let's just say $1,500. What would it look like? And you went with your credit union and you kicked the loan out to 60 months. How would you be then? So now you're saving $1,500 on the car because you're a decent negotiator. I believe you can get more off the car. You just have to fight harder. You took a longer term loan because you wanted a lower payment. Paying $700 plus for an Escape is insane. So I'll take it 60 months. You plan to keep it for a long time, you're good. Remember, the longer you finance, the more interest you're going to pay. So 60 months is the highest I would recommend that you go, unless you plan to pay it off early or pay extra principal payments in your payments. So you're at, I put 4.49, $3,500 rebate and the cash incentives, and you're at $55.89. And then you're in the car for $33,583. So $33,583 is less than $34,396 because you're a good negotiator and you took that. Now you're almost $5,000 in discounts on that car, and you're going to pay $3,528 in interest. Even if you didn't get any discounts, going 60 months, you're going to be in the same exact boat as if you would have taken the 0% interest. So at paying $727 a month, you're paying $34,925 for the car. Here, you're still paying less overall because you discounted it. If you're here, and let's just say you're here and you did 60 months, you're at $585. You're at $35,151. You're $150 to $175 more that you paid for the car, but you got a payment at $585 instead of $727 because you took the 4.5% interest rate. Like, I would do that deal. I'd pay an extra $170 over a 5-year period total. That's not monthly. That's like the total amount more you're going to pay for the car. So you've got to actually do the math. But here you're looking at a $555. But let's just say you discounted it from $31,485 and you decided to go 72 months, okay? Because let's look at Navy Federal. They'll take you to 61 to 72 months at 4.79. So 72 months, we got a 479. This is why I don't like going this much longer on the loan unless you plan to pay more. You take the $3,500 in incentives and then you redo it. You're at 477. You're at 34,374 is what you ultimately pay for the car, but you're paying $4,549 in interest. But remember, you got $3,500 back and you negotiated them down $1,500. You're still good by $500. You're paying $477 instead of the 0% guy over here. And yes, if you can negotiate this guy down to $30,000 at 0%, this is when I start confusing everybody. You're still at $694 because you didn't take the $3,500 rebate, and you're at $694. I don't know about you all. I'm good. I'm going to go one of these two. I'm going to go the $585, or I'm going to do this $477 or $485. We're going to do a 60 month. That's why the 60 months, the sweet spot. You know, you get the better rate, 60 months, 4.5. You're at what, 556? I mean, you're way better off. 60 months, 556. What's your budget, everybody? Get your credit union financing in order, or know what rate you're going to qualify, and go in and make a cash deal. The moral of this story is focus on price, do the math. Don't fall for the 0% this, 0% that, 90 days this, 90 days that. Don't fall for that. Just do the math on the purchase price and walk in there with the blank check from your credit union that you could fill in the amount, and they will literally call the credit union, get the number they put on the check, and then you'll walk out of there. You will pay less money for that car overall if you do the math before you go in there, or take your laptop with you, use this calculator and do the math. And they will be astonished by your acumen on being able to school them why 0% interest isn't that great of a deal when it comes to how much they're discounting the car if you just took the rebate and ground them on the price, because you can ground them on the price on either. But there's $3,500 stacked on top of whatever you're capable of negotiating on. And let's say you negotiated $3,500 off yourself and $3,500 off, you're $7,000 the better. I don't see a loan program where the interest, unless you have horrible credit, where the interest is going to cost you more than $7,000. You're better off. You're better off financing with an interest rate if you've got good credit. If you've got bad credit, you're not going to get the 0% anyways. So with that, everybody, hopefully that was clear. Hopefully it makes sense. Sorry for the long video. Please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.